Good morning. How's it going for everyone? Can you guys hear me? Okay, good. Is it Friday yet? Not.
I wish it was.
I know. What's happening? The week's going so slow. It's okay. It'll be good.
At least Thanksgiving's next week.
I know. That's crazy.
We get like
right?
half the week off.
A little less than half, right?
Well, like 2 days. It's almost.
Right. Yeah. I wish we could take Wednesday off too, but I don't think we can. Gino, Shane. Did you see that it's supposed to be hot again? They said like
It was
we're
90
not.
yesterday.
Yeah, they said we're not done with the 90s. I was like, are you kidding me right now?
But it says next week is supposed to be in the 70s, so
Oh, that's nice.
good enough.
Have I told you how much I hate to take attendance? Have I ever told you that? I hate it. I think it's a dumb activity. Yeah, I do. I don't like it. All right, is it going okay for everyone? Nathan, maybe. We don't know. Is it good? Bad? Oh, okay, Joya. Interesting. You'll have to explain to us why. Oh no, Haley, what does that mean? You're not having Thanksgiving? Like you're not eating that day? You're boycotting Thanksgiving? What's happening? I still can't hear you. You were unmuted. Now you're muted, but I couldn't hear you when you unmuted. Try again.
Hello?
There we go.
Okay. No, most of my family can't make it. And then some of my family's in the hospital. So fun times.
Yeah, it's annoying. It's horrible. So we have huge Thanksgiving with all of my family. It's all my kids' favorite holiday, and we're not doing anything. I mean, the six of us, my immediate family, me and my husband and my four kids will be together. But that's it. It's so sad. My kids were just saying how sad they are about it. Because literally, I have three sisters. Each of my sisters has four kids. And then we have spouses, we have lots of kids, and it's just so sad. So, and you know, the twins are in Connecticut, can't see them. So, my one sister, they just did a 2-week quarantine. They all got COVID tested. So, they're headed to Connecticut to see those babies. And then my other sister's in Hawaii visiting her kid who just had a baby. Remember I told you about that one? Then her oldest kid is not supposed to be due till December or something. Anyway, they're in the hospital right now having the baby. So my sister is so sad because she's in Hawaii. I mean, I know that sentence doesn't make a lot of sense. She's sad because she's in Hawaii, but she's sad that she's going to miss the birth of her second grandchild. So I know I want to go to Hawaii too, but maybe I'll get a vaccine and then I'll go, right? But not for a while. So yeah, my kids are very sad. We're trying to figure out what we do. We have a huge event. I mean, it starts like the night before Thanksgiving. We do all kinds of stuff. Then we do a turkey trot. Then we do a talent show. Then we play all kinds of games. It's crazy town. So, and we can't do it. So we're very sad. But my oldest son, who's 21, is flying home next Wednesday, and he will make our turkey. So he's excited. He said, "Can I please make the turkey?" So he got totally into cooking. Did I tell you, because all the COVID stuff, that he started ordering like Dinnerly and like HelloFresh to cook in his dorm room instead of going to the dining hall, because the dining hall is gross, number one. And number two, like COVID, it was crazy. So yeah, so he's been cooking like crazy. So he said, "Can you get the turkey?" So I said, "I sure can," because I hate making the turkey, just FYI. I like making everything else, but not the turkey part. That part is annoying. So I got 2 turkeys. Yay, I got 2 turkeys. Do you think he's going to think I got it because he's going to screw one of them up? That's not why I got it. But I mean, it is kind of fail-safe there. They'll have a backup turkey. But we also have a turkey fryer. So we were thinking of doing one turkey, fried turkey, and then the other one in the oven. It's a good thinking. Yeah, I don't know who's going to eat all the food, but I do have, 6 people in my family. So we are a little sad about Thanksgiving, but we are thankful that everybody's still okay, right? Like healthy-ish. So we're going with that. But I hope you guys get to celebrate somehow, right? I hope you get to eat good food. And I think if they're in your bubble, you can have Thanksgiving with them, right? So the only flaw in my plan is I need to call my dad today. My mom is hilarious. My mom said, I called her and I said, "What are you doing for Thanksgiving?" She said, "I'm making a turkey and eating it by myself." I was like, "Oh, guess that means I don't have to invite you to my house." So there we go. But my mom and dad are not together. And my dad, he's going to be sad if I don't invite him. So I'm going to invite him to sit in my backyard and stay away from me. But we'll see if he drives up from Tucson, because he has to come all the way from Tucson. Yes, well, okay, Haley, I don't think we have to answer that question. I think if you think about the origins of Thanksgiving, you will get there. And I appreciate that from the Indigenous community, that it would be a terrible holiday. I don't think I'm celebrating that. I think I'm just celebrating my family that I'm thankful for. So, yeah. But I hope lots of people do fun things over the day off, regardless of how you celebrate? What are we talking about? Only an hour drive. What's only an hour drive?
Tucson.
Oh, Tucson is way longer than an hour, by the way. I mean, if you're going to the north end of Tucson, or if you live in South Chandler, it might be an hour. It's almost 2 hours, depending on where you're going. But yeah, it's not. But my dad is 77, so I'm not sure he'll want to drive, but we'll see. Yeah, well, Thanksgiving is a strange holiday. The origins of Thanksgiving can be very depressing. If you watch the shows, oh, well, Christopher Columbus, we're not even saying his name because he's a horrible human. Like our history that's taught in the school is very, very incorrect. There are so many great documentaries right now about the indigenous communities all across the US, and I'm fascinated by them. I have a good friend whose child goes to Colgate University. I didn't know they have a huge indigenous program at Colgate, which is amazing, and they have so many amazing things there. So I think that's awesome. Have I told you that my sister and her family, I know, isn't it weird how, I'm not even sure they told us Columbus was great, but somehow we thought Columbus was great. I don't know what that's, so they should probably start teaching appropriate history. My sister and her whole family lived in Kayenta, Arizona. Does anyone know where Kayenta is? Up by Four Corners. So, and they lived there for years.
I live literally about like 30 minutes away, and that's where I am right now.
Really, Antoinette? Where are you from? Say the same place again. You were breaking up.
I'm from Chilchimbito.
Okay, I'm gonna tell my sister because they know that whole area so well. Now they live in Pine Top, and he's a doctor in White River. So yeah, and my kids were baptized at St. Francis Church in White River, which is an amazing church. The Apache just have an amazing community right there. So, and there's Navajo and Apache right there in that community between Pine Top and that area. It's amazing. What, Joya? That is insane. Joya, where did you go to school?
I went to school at DV, and they made us like, so basically on your transcript, like for the school, like they know your race and stuff, and like I'm like I'm part Native, and they just put me in the club, and when we walked into the club, they were just like playing like random indigenous music, and they were like, which tribe are you guys from? And like, and mine is like a tribe from like Canada, so I was like Carrier Sakani, and no one else like knew it, and they're all like, I'm like Navajo, and like, and then they made us make bracelets, and they were like, so you guys can identify each other, and I was like, that's really bad.
So you can identify each other? That is so bizarre. That
It's
is
really
just
bad.
bizarre. Well, okay, speaking of crazy things, and I just don't even know. You guys could tell me so many stories. I would be just dumbfounded at the whole thing. But this week is International Education Week. Did you guys know that? Yeah, and there's tons of events going on, and I'm going to see if I can pull up the flyer and put it in the chat because they have so many amazing events going on from international education. We have so many international students too. So we have amazing culture celebrations from everywhere that really, that's what we should be celebrating right now, right? Is all of our amazing cultures that we have in one place. Like MCC is filled with amazing people. So I'm going to see if I can put that in the chat later too. So you can check out some of those. Here's what's really cool. It's not just an MCC thing. It's across the district. So there's Paradise Valley, there's Scottsdale, CGCC, all of them together. So it's really cool. I'm going to see if I can make one of the events, but I haven't even had a chance to look at the flyer. I got the email and it's just been buried. So, okay. How did you do with the rest of that worksheet? Did you try some of them? Did you try to finish those? I think there was 3, 4, 5, and 6. I think there were only 6. Am I dreaming that? Did anyone try them? Who said that?
Me, Alyssa.
Alyssa, what did you say?
There's 7 in total.
Oh, okay, so there's 7. So, and you guys did the mini lesson last night? So, okay, so let's talk about them. Let's see. Oh, by the way, did anyone have a t-shirt to wear, to share? I'm recycling a t-shirt. It's very sad. Are you ready for my recycled shirt? Here's my recycled shirt. That doesn't mean I got it out of the recycling. It just means I'm wearing it again. I can't even find me, so I can't even tell if you can see it. You're probably going to remember it. Sorry I'm late. I took the rhombus. Yeah, rhombus. I know. It's a goodie. It's an oldie but a goodie. I had to wear it today because I'm teaching geometry at 12 o'clock. So at 12 o'clock, they will all be laughing hysterically because of my shirt. Yeah, it's true. It's facts. They're not going to, but it's okay. Anyone else have a shirt that they want to share? No, just me. Okay, we'll have to share something else. Next week is going to be favorite recipe week. Yes, you're going to bring your favorite recipe. I would love it if someone told me something new to make that I've never made. So there you go. Okay, let's look at this warm-up. This warm-up makes me die laughing. Okay, so let's just read it. Oh, a Splash Mountain hoodie. Oh, pumpkin bread. How did you mess it up? Could you still eat it, Morgan? If it just looked bad and tasted fine, then I'd still eat it. Did it taste bad?
Horrible. But I added flour afterwards, like after it came out of the oven, and then now it's just like a brick. So we're gonna retry that.
Okay, wait. Can you cut it up and put ice cream on it and eat it?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, or whipped cream and put it in the refrigerator. Maybe it'll soften up.
True.
Yeah, try that. I hate to throw things away. Good cereal. Jose, what's your favorite kind of cereal? I'm ready. Jose, I need a cereal. Jose's ignoring me. I'm very hurt. Yeah, he disappeared. Thank you. Mark it down for Jose. He disappeared. We're just going to talk about him until he comes back. Okay, there you go. He was just typing Frosted Flakes. It just took a while to type it. It's okay. It's all right, Jose. I got you. I hate Frosted Flakes. Yeah, that was a strong thing. I hate Frosted Flakes. Oh, I'm glad you took the garbage out. I hate garbage in the house. Okay, so here's what we're going to talk about. This hilarious warm-up problem. I don't know who wrote these, but they're crazy. Carlos takes his textbook to a pawn shop. Are you joking? He takes his textbook to a pawn shop. Do you think the pawn shop took his textbook? Apparently they did. I don't know what is happening right now, but that is idiotic. Okay. He's going to borrow some money. He gets 40 bucks. He has to pay back $40 and $20 extra in 3 months. So it's asking you what the simple interest rate is being charged. Okay, I understand the lesson they're trying to teach us here. They're trying to teach us not to go to pawn shops, but really a textbook, we couldn't say something like a watch, something that might be a little more reasonable than a textbook. That's just silly. Okay, so I used a different formula. Did you notice I'm using the R equals formula? Why would I use that formula? Why would I choose it?
I cannot see your screen.
Oh, for pickle's sake. Thank you for telling me, Laura. Oh, and Frida and Cheyenne. I was just teaching with no screen. Sorry. I really did read the problem and everything. It was there. I'm so happy someone told me. There you go. Can you see it now? Yay. Okay. So Carlos took his textbook. You got it. Okay. Now R equals I over P times T. That's the formula I'm going to use. And the reason I use that is because I want to know what rate he's being charged. So can you guys plug that into your calculators and tell me what rate he's being charged? And don't be shocked if it's crazy high, because remember, Carlos took his textbook to a pawn shop. When you're done, get it ready in the chat. I'll tell you, I'll count you down for a 3, 2, 1 in a minute. Okay, you guys ready? Okay, 3. It should be a percent. Make sure you have a percent sign on there. Yes. 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So when you solved this, you did get R equals 2, but it's not 2%. You have to multiply this by 100 to make it a percent. So Alyssa, I know Alyssa got it. Alyssa was correct. It's 200% that they're being charged. 200%. Because what they plugged in here, so I is $20. That's how much extra they're being charged. And then 100 times 3 months. What did you put in for 3 months? Very nice, 0.25. If you do this on your calculator correctly, you should get R equals 2, but then you have to change it to a percent. All right, so now I don't know if there's laws about pawn shops. I'm sure there are, but there are definitely laws about the check cashing places and things like that. I believe there's a law in Arizona that they can't charge you more than 35% interest rate. Okay, but apparently Carlos didn't go where there's a law about it. He's getting charged 200% interest. So the lesson of this horrible example is don't go to pawn shops, especially with your textbook, because you're going to get charged an exorbitant amount of money in interest rate. So it's interest. So it's an interest rate. So we multiply it by 100 to make it a percent. Normally, we wouldn't get a whole number here. Normally, we would get a decimal here, right? And you'll see that on some other examples. That, like I said, this example was cuckoo, so I just shared it with you for fun. Okay, so this is what we're going to do today. We're going to wrap up PF4. Always makes me want to say PF Chang, right? I love PF Changs. I'm just saying, okay, separate issue. Okay, so let's wrap up PF4. What the biggest thing I want you to think about is which formula you need to use. How do you set it up? And then how do you solve it? And we shouldn't really need it algebraically because we gave you the other formulas, so you could use it. So remember, does everybody have the formula sheet? Does anyone need it? Want me to put it in the chat again? Anyone need that? Okay, I'm gonna put it in the chat just in case you need it. So choosing the right formula is really important. So these were the problems we started with yesterday. Remember, Christina invested a certain amount and then we deposited an amount and we got these answers. Okay, so then you were going to try these on your own. Did anybody try them and want to check their answers? Be honest if you didn't try them. You okay? Did anyone try them? Jessica says yes. Did you really try them? Okay. Okay, Alyssa did. So let's check some answers. So on number 3, here's an example of what you would do. If you tried this one, Jerice, this might help you understand how to, why you multiply by 100. Right here, if we did this problem, we're looking for interest rate. So we want, it says, what what interest rate would you need on an account to have a deposit of $1,000 grow to $1,500 in 2 years? A great strategy is to keep track of your information. So the principal, that's how much we started with, that's $1,000. The time is 2 years, then the amount is $1,500. But what I really need is the interest. And so to find the interest, I'm going to take 1,500 minus 1,000 and get 500 in interest. So what I don't have is R. So that must be what I'm looking for. So I use this formula, I divided by P times T. So 500 divided by 1,000 times 2. If you do that on your calculator, you get 0.25. But then since we report our interest rate as a percent, you would multiply 0.25 times 100 to get 25%. Okay. Oh, good. Haley says she got them both right. Just use the original formula, Haley. How'd you do it, Haley?
So basically I, did the 1,500 minus 1,000 and got 500, and I knew it was in 2 years. So I divided that by 2 and then did 250 divided by 1,000 and then got
Okay.
0.25.
Excellent.
Weird,
so you
but
did the order a little bit different. It's
Mhm.
totally fine. As long as you're getting the right answer, you're good. Okay, and then the second one is 3.6 years. For those of you that did the rest of them, the next ones, I'll go to that. Did you get 27.8 years, and then she's being charged 40% interest rate. Did anyone get those answers? Yay. Okay, so if you didn't finish those, you can review these slides later. I have all my work there. There was a number 7, but I don't see a number 7. Was this the last one, Christina? I'm sorry, was the last one the one with Christina in it? I'm trying to look. Let me pull it up and see if that was the last one, because my numbering might have been wrong. Yeah, that was the last one. Okay, now, so if you need to review that, you can. These, I will have, I think my numbers were just off, but I have all the problems there. So all the problems should be on the handout. The numbering was just different. So I have a PF4 worksheet, but I don't want to spend time on it unless you need it. So if you need that, you could do that. It's just optional extra. Okay, so you can see that link after class. What I do want to talk to you about is compound interest and how compound interest is different than simple interest. So with simple interest, we're assuming that you just take the interest when you get it. But that's not how most things work. Most things are compound interest, where the interest is automatically added to your balance, and then you earn interest on that in future years. Okay? So that reinvestment of the interest is called compounding. So you should make more money with compound interest than simple interest. Okay. Thank you guys for answering all those questions in the chat. Please read my emails, because I actually send you emails that explain what I'm doing, right? So I sent you guys an email that said why those are due on the 22nd. Okay, so here's a new formula. I'm going to zoom in on this so you can see it. This is the compound interest formula. So some of the things should be familiar. A is the same as it was before. It's the balance on the account after a certain amount of time. P is still the initial or the principal, the starting amount. R is still the interest rate. T, which is way up here, I don't know if you can see that T is still time in years. So we really have just one new thing. And the one new thing is N, okay? So the new thing is N, and it says N is the number of compounding periods in 1 year. This is where you'll have to think. So if it says it's compounded annually, that means 1 time per year. So you're gonna plug in. If it says quarterly, that's N equals 4, because that happens 4 times. Think of there's 4 quarters in a dollar, okay? And then monthly is N equals 12, because there's 12 months in a year. Daily, N equals 365, because there's 365 days in a year. If it says weekly, N equals 52, because there's 52 weeks in a year. And then how about semi-annually? What does semi-annually mean? How many times? Very nice, 2 times a year. So those are things you need to know in order to do the problems, okay? So the formula looks a little bit different. Do you notice right here, this exponent is N times T. If you're using a calculator like this, then you use a caret button, right? To get to your exponent, okay? You use that caret button. If you are using Desmos, I can show you how to do it. If you are using a different calculator and you need help finding it, please just ask, because a lot of the things we do in class, we need to make sure you're able to push the buttons correctly on your calculator. It sounds really dumb, but it's important, because if we get the right answers in class with your calculator, I can answer any questions. But if you don't, then you leave class and you're getting them all wrong, and it's probably a calculator issue, okay? So the Desmos calculator scientific is really nice for these formulas, and I'll show you how that works too. All right, there are the 2 formulas that I have on your formula sheet. One is finding the amount in the account. The other one I just rearranged algebraically to find the principal. So it says if it says how much do you need to deposit, then you're going to use this. If it says how much is in your account, then you'll use this. So part of it is just finding the right formula to use and then recording all of your information. Okay, we are going to talk about the TVM solver tomorrow. If you already did your mini lesson and you see the TVM solver, that's totally fine. But today we're going to talk about using formulas. So I'm going to put a worksheet in the chat for you, because this is the worksheet that we're going to do today and tomorrow. Okay. Oh, the other thing is I want to put you guys on some teams for the final project, and you don't have to work together, but you can. So I'm going to make a Google form for you guys and ask you, can you tell me 1 to 2 people that you would like to work with in a group? Okay, not for the final necessarily, but just work with in a group for the next 3 weeks. And then I'll try to put your teams together. If you don't care who you work with, you can just put that on the Google form. Doesn't matter, I'll work with anyone, okay? So, and it'll ask you what program you're in. Again, because I know some of you changed programs of study that you're interested in, okay? Okay, so I just put this in the chat. This should be the first problem on there. You deposit $300 in an account earning 5% interest compounded annually. How much will you have in the account in 10 years? So the first thing we want to do is we're going to keep track of all this information. We're going to write kind of like a key for ourselves, okay? So principal, then we need interest, then we need maybe the amount, then we need the R. Oops, I don't need this right here, right on this problem. So it's different when you're in simple interest than when you're in compounded interest, right? So we don't need this right here, because we're going to be calculating some just information and what's in the account. But we do need A and N and T and R. So, and you could have these in whatever order you want. But as you're reading the problem, if you don't print it out, you might have to highlight. You can't really highlight, but you could record it. So $300, what is the 300? Is it going to be our P, T, A, R, or N? Very nice. It's going to be your P. Then I get to this 5%. What is that? R. So under R, you can write 5%, but no, if you're using a formula, you're going to have to change that to a decimal, right? And then compounded annually. What do I put and which variable is that for? N is 1. Now, it's not T yet, right? It's N. T is always time in years. So N is the number of compounds annually, okay? And then the last thing I have is 10 years. So that must be time. So what I don't have is this. And I highly recommend you writing a legend or a key like this, because that'll help you figure out which formula to use. Since I'm missing the amount, then the formula I'm going to use is the A equals formula. So A equals T times 1 plus R over N. And then that's raised to the N times T power. Now, you're going to take a finance quiz and you're going to have paper written. It's real easy to type the wrong button in your calculator or forget a parentheses or something like that. If you have all this written on your paper, then I can give you partial credit. Okay, so make sure you write as much as you can. Then I wrote the formula, that's really important. And then I'm plugging into the formula. Now, I try to write it exactly like you would put it in a calculator like this or a scientific calculator. This one is easier than a scientific. What some of you might need to do is you'll have to put a little caret symbol to get up here. That's like a arrow up to get into that exponent. If you forget that, you're going to get the wrong answer. So everybody try that in your calculator. If you want to use the Desmo scientific calculator, hopefully you have that bookmarked by now. Let me find mine. And then I'll do it on the calculator too, so you can see it. There's the Desmo scientific calculator. When you get your answer, make sure you put a $sign on there, and we'll do a 3, 2, 1, but not yet. So type it all in, get it all ready. Oh no, Alyssa. Is it batteries? Try the Desmos one. It's pretty easy. You can put the Desmos one on your phone too. All right, do you guys have your answer ready? Let's put it in the chat. In 3, 2, 1, go. Make sure you go to the nearest cent since it's money, and make sure you round correctly. Since it was 488.66, is that what it happened? Is that what I got on your calculator? Yeah. No, it's 488.668388. So make sure you round to the nearest hundredth. So you should get 488.67. Now, just out of curiosity, do you think that amount would be bigger or smaller than if we did it with simple interest? This amount would be larger than if we did it with simple interest, right? Yeah, with the same rate. Let's look at it. If we did simple interest, this is just a little aside for us to remember why we're doing this. We would say I equals PRT, right? That's our original formula. But if we want to use the amount formula, because that's very helpful, we would say A equals T times 1 plus RT. So if we use this formula, we're going to say A equals 300 times 1 plus 0.05 times 10. So if we do that in our calculator, 300 times 1 plus 0.05 times 10, you would get $450. So with simple interest, we're only at $450. With compound interest, we're at 488.67 because we're earning interest on our interest. So if you can get compounded, it's better, right? And the more times it's compounded per year, the higher your balance will become. Okay, so there's my explanation. You'll have $488.67 in the account after 10 years. Let's try one more. Okay, yeah, in 10 years, it's not that much. Why is it not that much, Alyssa? Why do you guys think it didn't grow by a whole lot? Yeah, it's a pretty low rate. 5% is actually pretty high, believe it or not. You're not getting 5% anywhere on your investment. You didn't invest very much money, did you? You literally put $300 in the bank, right? Yeah, it's only $300 and it's only compounded once a year. So it's the amount of money you're putting in. We were talking about this in the last class. So you put your money in the bank, right? If you have a savings account, you're making hardly anything, right? Maybe 1%. So maybe you get a penny, right? When you get your little dividend statement of how much money you earned on your thing. But so this is how banks, right? Think about how banks make their money. They have all your money, right? And they're investing huge amounts of money over time that's compounded more often. So they're making a lot of money off your money. Does anybody use Venmo? Yeah. If you use Venmo, that's exactly how they're making their money, right? You put money into your Venmo account, they invest that money and make all kinds of money. Now, be very careful. Do you leave a balance in your Venmo account? Don't do it. Don't leave your money in Venmo. Do you know why? Anyone know why you shouldn't leave your money in there? So a breach for sure, but you sign terms and conditions, right? When you check that box that says you agree to their terms and conditions, they're not federally insured. Your bank is federally insured, okay? Venmo is not. Venmo's terms and conditions say if something happens, you're just out. Your money's gone. You don't get it back. So be very careful. That's why you shouldn't leave a Venmo balance sitting there. Okay, because they own it, not you at that point. They've claimed that in your terms and conditions. So, and if you do an immediate transfer, they charge you 10%, right? You have to do that transfer where it takes 1 to 3 days, but it's definitely better to do that than to leave your money in your Venmo account. So be careful. Those terms and conditions can be really tricky. Okay, yeah. So be very careful when you're agreeing to those things. You don't know what you're doing. You just click through so you can get to the app, but you've agreed to a lot of things. Okay,
I have a
go ahead, Laura.
question.
Yeah.
So what does compounded mean? Does it mean that if we're, for example, with the interest rate that we just in the example 5%, so does that mean that the next year we're gonna earn 10% and then the next year we're gonna earn 15%? Okay.
No, what it means is they add your interest into your account. And so now your principal is bigger, right? So they're adding interest to your interest. So like, let's say even just your savings account. Let's say you have $100 in your savings account and you earn a penny interest, okay? So now you have $100 and 1 penny. So now you're going to earn interest on that $100.01. So you'll get more money. Does that make sense? But it's still just that same 5%. Yeah, it'd be nice if that doubled. That does not happen. Okay, so now let's look at this second problem. So we have P, R, N, T, and A. Those are all the things, all the variables when we're doing compounding. See if you can fill in all those blanks. And then you're looking for, it says, how much will you have in the account? So we should use this formula, A equals P times 1 plus R over N to the N times T power, okay? So those of you that didn't get that first answer, did you see where you made a mistake? Anybody have calculator questions for me? Because some of you got different answers on that. Okay, just making sure. Try this one, and then we'll do a chat, and then we'll do our exit ticket. We'll talk about the rest of the week. All right, are you guys ready? Do you have it in the chat yet? Okay, let's do it. 3, 2, 1, go. Look at that. Okay, so $2,100 was our principal. Our rate was 0.025. Make sure you had that in the right place. Our N is 2 because it's semi-annually. Our time is 7 years, and the amount is what we're looking for. So some of you are off on your decimal points, so make sure you know where you went wrong. Maybe you wrote down the wrong value in your problem. I'm not sure, but if you need help with the calculator, please ask. All right, so it seems like you're doing okay. Now, when you watch the video tonight, you have your, tonight, this is what's due. Your PF4 practice, okay, on more is due. Your PF5 mini lesson is due. And then your PF5 practice will be due tomorrow night. So you can start working on it. You can get ahead, whatever you want. So, and then here's how I wrote it out. Anyone have questions over those? That question, everybody all right? Okay, so there's more problems on this worksheet. Don't worry about them. We'll do them tomorrow in class with your new team. So I'll be sending you a Google form about what your program of study is now, because some of you changed, and then 1 or 2 other people that you would like to work with, okay, for the rest of this semester. And then let's get down here to our exit ticket. So try this exit ticket. If you have questions, please, please, please let me know, because, you know, we're taking this piece by piece, but we're going to get more and more pieces. So make sure if you're stuck now, you ask. There's your exit ticket. I'm going to stay on here for a couple minutes if you have any questions. Yes, I will send the optional PF4 in here too. It says PF5 mini lesson is due tonight, which is true. It should say PF5 practice isn't due till tomorrow night. So PF4 practice, PF5 mini lesson. There's an optional PF4 practice. Frida, does that make sense? Does it say practice or mini lesson? Okay, good.